Good morning, good day. This is your girl, Dr. Tay, here with another morning message. So today I want to talk about change, and I want to specifically talk about like when we're in that process of change, right? So while you were going through that process, have you ever stopped and asked, how did I get here? Really, just sort of like questioning like, what was the catalyst? What was the thing that really changed where you are now versus where you were before? The thing that I think we often miss is the momentum, the small things that lead up to the change. And so think of it this way. Imagine, you have like one small inconvenience, right? Nothing that's worth making a big fuss over. And then those little inconveniences become big inconveniences. And then those big inconveniences become a series of breaking points to the point where you're like, you know what, I can't take it anymore. And you're ready to just do or have or be something different, right? And what I think often happens is we tend to brush off those little moments because, again, at that time, it doesn't seem like anything major. And when we do that, we deprive ourselves the opportunity to really try to make a significant change, to really try to do something that contributes to our overall well-being. And this is something that I recently discovered in terms of my own transitions, right? So one of the things that I find to be interesting, and I've talked about journaling here multiple times, but there have been a few times where I've revisited some of my journals and was sort of surprised by some of the things that I wrote. Because the things that I wrote 2, 3, 4 years ago are things that I was sort of complaining about, grumbling about, but didn't necessarily do anything about in terms of changing my circumstances. And then fast forward to when I did make some significant changes, it just sort of seemed like, whoa, where is this coming from? And it wasn't until I looked back at my journal that I realized, oh, this was always happening. This was always building up to this moment. I just was sort of brushing off those little moments. And so one example that specifically comes to mind is when I was making the transition out of working in higher education. For many people, it seemed very sudden. For me, it was very sudden because it was just like one day I was like, you know what, this is it. This is the next move. And I submitted my letter of resignation. However, when I looked back at my journals and even some of my class assignments from early on in my doctoral journey, I realized that there were these little signals, these little signs that I really wasn't happy in what I was doing anymore. And that I was really seeking some kind of change. I just didn't know what that change was at that time. However, over the course of those 3 to 4 years, there was this momentum that built up to the point where I was like, I'm ready to do something different. And I did. And it felt dramatic and it felt very sudden, but it was something that I absolutely had to do at that point. And one of the things that I would encourage us to do is, one, when we do have those small inconveniences, just taking note of it somewhere and making sure that we are revisiting it, right? Because for me, I wrote it in my journal and lost that journal and then suddenly found it as I was doing some unpacking and I was like, oh, that's where that was coming from. But, I would highly recommend just spending some time revisiting those ideas, revisiting those feelings, because it actually gives us the opportunity to change the narrative to say, where do I want to go? How can I do things differently? How can I change my current circumstances so that we're not stuck in this momentum of moments that turn into big moments that turn into breaking points, right? And then revisit those notes to see if there has been some improvement. And if not, then begin the conversation of how can I change this for the better so that it's not dramatic, so that it's not sudden, so it doesn't feel like, you're just sort of in this position where you have to make a change. Why not be in control of that change and be the one to lead it as opposed to allowing the change to lead you, right? So I hope that this message was helpful, and I hope that you have a great day, okay? Hey, Hey, thank you so much for listening to my video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe below. Also, I have some other recommended videos for you to check out over here. All right, thanks a lot and have a great day.